Hello, friends. Ole Miss baseball is headed to Omaha for the 7th time in program history. This is a live post game. I'm Ben Garrett. Brad Logan is going to be joining us from the field shortly. Ole Miss is currently dogpiling on the mound there at Plainsman Park. What a great scene. What a great scene. What a great story. Welcome inside. Thank you for joining me. Ben Garrett here for Talk of Champions. Our post-game show will be live for a little while now as Ole Miss defeats Auburn, sweeps Auburn away in the Auburn Super Regional. 5-3 is the final in Game 2. J.P. Robertson gets the win. Walker Hooks gets the save. Hello, friends. Yes, John Carter, 5535. We're up. Hello, Elmer, 1712. Hello. Watching Cade Townsend embrace some of his teammates there on the mound. Waiting for our friend Brad Logan to get in here with us. He's going to come to us live from the field as I abruptly end the music as we all try to get going here. My buddy Alex Bryan says, hotty toddy. Good to see you, buddy. Heath Skelton says, let's go. The Rebs are hot, Tommy Reb. Welcome into Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit. Ben on Twitter. Your Ole Miss Rebels are headed to the College World Series for the 7th time in program history with a 5-3 win over Auburn on this Saturday. Ole Miss defeated Auburn last night 6-4. Great heroics in this game. Taylor Rabe was brilliant again. 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 home runs, 8 strikeouts. 8 strikeouts for one Taylor Rabe. And there was a ridiculous stat that the SEC Network threw up on TV. Let me find it. It was the 4th straight game for Taylor Rabe with 8+ strikeouts. That's the longest streak in a season by an Ole Miss pitcher this decade. Congratulations to Ole Miss. The 7th time. Judd is elite at DCOT6. Dixie Girl says, woohoo. John Carter says, war damn rebel. And then Jason Humphreys is talking about the 7th time. Crazy, the 7th time. Let's take a look at the stats as we wait on Brad to get in here. This is Talk of Champions, brought to you as always by our friends at Riverland Roofing, that little house up top, if I'm pointing to it correctly. Riverland Roofing for all your roofing needs, 662-644-4297. Brad's here. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Ben, it's a big night tonight. You can take a look at the crowd across the way. It was a terrific Ole Miss crowd, and Ole Miss is going to Omaha. Mike Bianco is obviously incredibly excited. You see over my left shoulder, the team is getting ready. We'll have media availability coming up to you very, very soon. Take a look. This place is absolutely insane. It's full of Ole Miss fans. Coach Mike Bianco, I got a Gatorade bath. I believe we can start talking about statue. At this point, I don't think it matters, kind of what they do. I think what matters now is that they came to Auburn and they won here tonight, and it was a huge opportunity for Ole Miss. They took advantage of it, and what about Will Furniss? 0 for 8, and then all of a sudden gets a home run. Incredible.
Yeah, I was just saying that, man, on Twitter, and I figured we'd talk about it here. If anybody deserved that postseason moment, it's Will Furniss. I mean, an absolute dynamite human being, great baseball player, and Fern was confident. I was there at Swayze Field for that media availability for the Lincoln Regional, and he and I talked for a long time off to the side, and I wanted to roll my eyes at it because it's like, oh, well, you're going on the road, this, that, but they're 5-0 in the postseason. They're now going to Omaha, and Fern gets that big knock. What an incredible, incredible moment for him and for Tristan Bissetta, too, when they went back-to-back to secure this one, Brad.
Yeah. I think it was a big, big moment, because Auburn had all the momentum, and it took Ole Miss essentially, just finding a way, and they had not found a way all day today. I mean, they just didn't play well, and all of a sudden it's a situation of where they come out and Will Furniss just absolutely hits the home run, and it's a very, very happy Ole Miss baseball team, and congratulations to Mike Bianco. You can see the jubilation on his face. I just saw Mike Clement, who's looking at me now. I got the fist pump from Mike Clement just a moment ago, and congratulations to Brad Henderson as the team prays, and to David Kellum and the entire Ole Miss organization. I visited with Keith Carter briefly as the third out was about to happen, and to say he was excited is an understatement. It's a great day for Ole Miss baseball.
Yes, and if you look at the stats on the screen, a lot of heroes in this game. Multiple Rebels with at least a hit. Judd was 1 for 2, 2 RBI. Will Furniss with a big two RBI homer. Taylor Rabe was brilliant again, though. Brad, as we look at the field there at Plainsman Park, Brad is on the field coming to us live. Taylor Rabe was absolutely brilliant. His fourth straight game with 8+ strikeouts, which is the most by an Ole Miss pitcher this decade. What an incredible effort from him.
You see a lot of the Ole Miss fans here on the visitor side have made their way over, and we'll get a little bit closer. They're about to take a team picture here, Ben. We'll show everybody back home kind of what's happening here on the field. It was a big day, and it was an opportunity for Ole Miss to punch their ticket to Omaha once again. And I mean, what do you say at this point? What do you say for a team that had to run all the way through the Nebraska Regional? We'll get into all of this in our post-game show. But all of our content, of course, is brought to our friends at the College Corner store. Scott Word just sent me a link. I'll get that out to everybody. It's Omaha gear. I can't believe I'm saying it, but that's your official Omaha home for the Talk of Champions is the College Corner store. Much to come from Omaha as I just can't believe I'm saying that the Ole Miss is going back to the College World Series. And listen to this crowd.
We can't really hear anything. We just hear you mostly.
they're making a whole lot of noise, Ben, and it was an incredible crowd. And I've got some great video that I'll share with everybody. But Mike Bianco turned around, took his hat off, and did like this to the Ole Miss fans. And I'm gonna
show us what they're doing now.
What they did is they just stamped that the Ole Miss sticker. Ole Miss is headed to Omaha, and here's the team picture.
Look at him. There it is. You're enjoying this in real time, Ole Miss fan. Brad is there on the field. I agree with that. @BHAM_Reb. RIP to the Jello Shot Challenge there in Omaha. Ole Miss is going to win.
And the crowd is absolutely going nuts. It's a very pro Ole Miss crowd at this point. Interesting here, gentlemen. So Mike Bianco's talking to Taylor Rabe, Judd Udemar, Will Furniss, Hunter Elliott, and Hayden Federico, who made the play of the year. I'd be interested to see what he's telling them. But without those 5 players, I don't believe this happens. And I just see Coach Chris Cleary, who just gave a fist pump. JP Robertson talking to the Ole Miss crew. Just pure, absolute. And look at Hudson Calhoun. Who's more deserving than Hudson Calhoun to take the trophy to the fans? You see all the fans here, Ben. Hudson Calhoun showing everybody the trophy, and look at all these Ole Miss fans. Very deserving. And then I give a quick look to the sticker. There it is. The greatest show on dirt. Ole Miss is headed to Omaha.
Let's go, dude.
As the hottie toddy is breaking out here. And we'll see head coach Mike Bianco here.
There he is. There's 5.
Coach Mike Bianco headed up to the crowd.
This is great. There's Mike. Oh, you could tell. You can tell.
Some friends and family out.
Yeah. You can tell. Creature.
Yeah. How about this crowd? Ole Miss fans, give yourself a hand.
Look at
Ole Miss fans have decided to stick around. Coach Mike Bianco walking around. And you see here's Keith Carter, Ole Miss Director of Athletics, along with his family. I can't imagine how excited he is. And then we're going to say hello to our Mike Clement real quick. We're going to say hello to him and congratulate him. He's been a big component of our Talk of Champions podcast.
So is Fern. Go tell Fern I said what's up.
Coach, congratulations. I'm proud of you. Good luck at Omaha. Thanks for coming on with us. Yeah, he said, tell Benjamin hello.
Hello.
He just looked over at me.
I love that, dude.
A big night.
Well,
there's Furniss. Well, Furniss is on the air with Brad Henderson. Let's go say hello to Fern and congratulate him.
Totally get like a real quick comment from Fern. Heck yeah, before he goes in.
I don't think what I'm doing is legal, but what are they going to do? Send me to NCAA jail? Mike Bianco is walking around giving hats.
I love it. Maybe you get a hat.
Well, they're just hats laying around everywhere.
If you can get yourself a hold of one of those hats, man, the keepsake that bad boy would be.
What a night.
Oh, it's awesome, dude. Oh. And Brad, it's just been a special team all year, man. But like they've gone through
really
it a little
has.
bit. To see them get this special moment, what it's got to be incredibly gratifying for them. You can tell that it means a lot.
As we see the Bianco family here, I had a chance to visit with Drew earlier today, and I mean, you talk about somebody that just loves his dad, loves Ole Miss. He's a huge part of this team. As we see Coach Mike Bianco embracing Kyle Birnbaugh, the SID, embracing Judd Udemark, who had the bomb over the left field wall.
Monster.
We see Fern here talking to the Ole Miss radio network. It is a special night here for Ole Miss fans.
You got to get Judd or somebody to come up and say hey to the peoples. Now we got 1,000 people in here already paying attention to this.
I'm trying to stay out of jail, honestly, Ben.
There's no jail. What do you think? Like, no one's gonna let anything happen to you.
Colin Reuter, who had a huge home run. Colin, congratulations on going to Omaha. Appreciate everything too.
Get it, Colin.
Colin Reuter. Coach Joel Mangrum showing a lot of emotion here.
Heck
he is a huge, as we see him embrace his family here. It's such a cool story. Joel Mangrum, hey, look, Ben, right there. Without Joel Mangrum, this doesn't happen. Nope. Without Joel Mangrum, Ole Miss is not going to Omaha. Very emotional. Really cool to see. That's what it's about. Yep. It's about Ole Miss. It's about winning. It's about going to Omaha. And that's it. Pure, unadulterated emotion. I love it.
I love it too, man. I love it for you. I love that you're bringing. Where was you going to get this Ole Miss fan? Brad's just standing there hanging with him. I love this. This is fantastic. Now we just got to get Fern to jump on the Talk of Champions with you for 2 seconds.
We'll hear Tristan Becerra with the bomb, who's online now. As we get ready, it's hard to hear, I know, but the fans are going absolutely ballistic.
Well, see, we don't hear anything because you got your headphones in, but like that's perfect because we can see everything. You know what I mean?
And if I don't have my headphones, I can't hear you. So
yeah, you have to have them, and that's why I'm telling you, man. You go grab Fern or Judd, and let them say something.
Well, Fern's on the radio right now.
Oh man, this is wild.
Carl Lafferty ball. You talk about somebody that loves Ole Miss and has recruited his tail off. You just really congratulate people like that. Hunter Elliott, Dom Decker talking to his family there. Will Libbert.
John Carter said in the chat, Brad is terrified to talk because he might go to NCAA juvie.
Here's Will Furness.
There's Fern.
There he is.
Let's go.
Hunter Elliott.
There's Hunter.
The entire team.
Bill Fern's butt to turn around.
Look at Furness talking to the kids.
Look at him, man of the people. Look at that man, man of the people. Get up there and talk to him now. Go say, Fern, what's up?
Congratulations.
Fern, show him. My God. You deserve that, dude.
Congratulations.
The absolute best, man. What an absolute dude. That home run was special, man. Oh, this is so fun.
That's Coach Mike Bianco's wife. We'll be sure to congratulate Cammie. You talk about somebody that's a trooper, somebody that has been through the battles, and that is Cammie Bianco. And congratulations to her and the entire Bianco crew. This is a huge day. Miss Cammie, congratulations. That was a good one. We'll see Keith Carter and Miss Cammie embracing, and the fans here are wide open. They've gotten even larger, even more. Ben, I thought we were going to do a post-game show. I think we're doing it.
We are doing it. Now, what do you think this was?
I think we're doing it.
I mean, like this is so much better.
Lafferty.
There's Carl.
There's the trophy.
Yep, Carl.
Let's go look at the trophy.
There's the trophy. Yep, there it is. There it is. A look at the trophy, folks. From Brad Logan, live on scene at Plainsman Park. You're seeing live sights and not sounds because Brad's got his headphones in so he can actually communicate with us. But look at this video. Those are all Ole Miss fans down the first base line there at Plainsman Park. Ole Miss fans or Ole Miss players lining that first base line to greet
This
the
is a
fans.
special
Yeah.
night. By the way, as we see Cooper Johnson, I want everybody to know who this is because I had a chance to visit with Cooper Johnson's dad last night at the hotel. Just an incredible family. There are a lot of good families here, but Cooper Johnson, man, he is a super, super guy. And I had a chance to visit with his dad, and there's his dad right here. His dad played at LSU. Congratulations. That was awesome. Yeah.
Daddy Fern.
Yeah.
He's the man.
It was awesome.
Brad,
it's gonna be his time soon.
At Mary and in the chat, she said, Ben, are you yelling in Brad's ear? Poor Brad. I mean, it's one of those days.
What'd she say?
She said, are you yelling in Brad's ear? Poor Brad. I'm like,
we've got but anyway, it's important to note this. Cooper's dad played here at Auburn, and he mentioned to me last night that he was talking to a number of his former players. I say former players, the players that he played with in the 90s. And he told me, he said, Brad, they are blown away with how disciplined this Ole Miss team is and how well they played. And just really cool to see this environment. I mean, there was 10,000, how many ever, there he is. Hey, guys. Hey, good to see you. We got the Grove Collective crew is here.
Let's go.
This is absolutely insane out here. And so Cooper's dad was telling me about, seeing all of his players that he played with and just really how Auburn has grown as a program. And so it was really cool to see. We'll see. Their head coach Mike Bianco is still talking to everybody. I think they're trying to get everybody to move at this point. I guess at some point there'll be a press conference. He's still congratulating everybody, and they're congratulating him. And it's a really, really cool moment for Ole Miss. We see Fern and Judd Udemark, two of the best to ever wear the uniform, holding the trophy. Really, really cool to get to see these guys and just the jubilation on their face and just really cool moment.
Right there, man. Let's see this little moment with Judd and Fern.
And how about this? Colin Reuter, the huge home run yesterday that catapulted Ole Miss, very deserving to hold that trophy.
Absolutely.
Judd Udemark,
so many guys, Brad.
Hey, real quick, Ben, look at this. We've got Walker Hooks is being interviewed. Talk about somebody that comes back after a day's rest. I had a chance to visit with Walker Hooks' mom last night. Also had a chance to visit with Kay Towns' mom. And I met Trisha Becetta's family as well. I don't think she'll mind me saying this. Miss Cindy Steiner is from Oxford, Mississippi. And we had a long talk last night. She said, Brad, here's why Ole Miss is going to win today. She said, this team is a complete team. Now, they weren't a complete team earlier this season. As you see, everybody's still wide open behind me. They weren't a complete team. You see Walker Jones and Mike Bianco embrace here. They were not a complete team earlier this year, but they have really come together. And you see Matt McLaughlin. I think did I say that right?
Yep.
Yeah, Matt McLaughlin of Ole Miss. I think he's with the foundation and
Matt is massive for building out the rosters for all. Like he is one of the biggest NIL architects that Ole Miss has. And so there you are. You're seeing Mike Bianco talking to Walker, to Matt McLaughlin. I mean,
I'm sure they've got
that's the cool thing too, because those guys have real scratch in the game, dude. They put it all out there.
And Ben, if you'll remember, Ole Miss hosted a recruit earlier this week, and so they're still recruiting. They're still having to recruit the portal.
Yeah.
Even with all this craziness going on. So it is just an absolute wild scene. As we see Will Furniss come, he walked behind me. He's a really good story, too, because you look at Will Furniss, he was 0 for 8 coming up to that at bat. I think I'm right. Yeah. He hadn't had a hit this series, had he?
He was, I think it was 0 for 8. I mean, and he got all of that one.
Congratulations. I think. And then, they just go to Colin Reuter. That was out of nowhere yesterday. So being able to see all of this, I'm going to go to say hello to Drew Bianco real quick. He's been a big part of this team. He's handled a lot of the communication piece.
Hey, if somebody will stand and talk.
Drew, congratulations. Proud for you, okay? He's been a big component in this team. So really cool to get to see him.
Drew. Let me see Drew. Where is Drew? I didn't get to see
Drew. He's right over there. We had a chance to visit with him. So really just an incredible moment. And it's really neat too, Ben, to see all of these people. And I don't want to say it's a sigh of relief, but it's a really cool moment to see uh, kind of the way this team, like I said, has come together, but just to be able to celebrate a moment like this. We said all along that the key for Ole Miss is to win in two. I've said that, you've said that, and everybody has. And once they got it last night, I felt good coming into the game today, but I don't know, it kind of got a little dicey there in the fifth or sixth inning. But hey, I've been asking, all the shows that I've been blessed to go on, what's the key? And I was like, it's leadership, because I truly believe the leadership is what has catapulted this team. It is what has gotten Ole Miss in the position of a regional, of a super regional. Leadership won this game tonight, Ben. I have no doubt in my mind that leadership won this game. You had monster plays in center field by Hayden Federico.
Mm-hmm.
You had big plays by Dom Decker. You had, obviously, the player, I would say the player of the year, as we see the whole Bianco family there. That's a really cool moment. All the Biancos getting their picture made, and congratulations to all the Biancos and Mike and the entire crew. But leadership was big. Udemark's been huge. The home run over the left field wall. Federico with the player of the year. Coach, hey, congratulations. And then the Will Furnace home run, to me, encapsulates a perfect Auburn Regional. Now Ole Miss is headed to Omaha. Ben, do you happen to know what the schedule will look like?
That's what I was hoping you'd tell me, because I've been so swept up in Ole Miss winning this.
I did. I glanced at it. I glanced at it last night, and I believe that it's probably going to look like Ole Miss is going to play at some point on Friday, either 2 or 6, because they played on Friday in this regional. Like, for example, State and Georgia started today, so they'll play. That winner will play on Saturday in Omaha.
Ole Miss will play the winner of the Chapel Hill Regional between UNC and USC. That super that's being played in Chapel Hill, playing at North Carolina, is even at 1-1. So tomorrow they'll play that decider for that one, and that's who Ole Miss would play in Omaha. Number 5,
Ben,
North Carolina or South Carolina or USC.
We've done some organic things in our day. I don't know that we've ever done anything like this. So this is really cool. And once again, this is not planned, ladies and gentlemen. Ben and I talked earlier today. I was going to go to the press conference and get quotes and then do our normal stand-up. And then
you can still do that, but this is way better.
I may still do that, but here's the thing. We're about changing the narrative here at the Talk of Champions. What can we do different? And I'm not going to say just different, but we kind of want to be different.
Yeah, there you go.
But we do. We want to be different. We want to provide you content that you can't get anywhere else. And I'm really proud of what we've built. I'm really proud of the regional content that we've been able to provide. And we'll have wall-to-wall coverage for you from Omaha. We couldn't do what we do without our friends at the College Corner store and Scott
they
Burns.
Powered this entire thing, man. Like, a shout out to the College Corner.
Shout out. Please go see them and shop online at collegecornerstore.com. And we're going to shoot out a link that's got Omaha gear. And Scott, I'm sorry, I'm online. As soon as I get off, I'm sending that out on Facebook and X and everywhere. We're going to make sure everybody can see it. But we couldn't do it without them. A fascinating part of all this is I talked to Micah Boutel in the pregame show, Ben, and we talked specifically about what does this mean from an organizational standpoint? What does this mean from a standpoint of football, athletic programs? I truly believe winning obviously just cures everything, and I get that. But what winning does in baseball does nothing but just fire you up for football season. It's going to help you from a foundation standpoint. It's going to help you from an NIL standpoint. That's why Walker Jones is here. Everybody sees. I mean, he does such a good job of being out in front of everybody. And as we see him talking to Walker Hooks, he does a fantastic job of making himself known. And that's one thing that Walker's been great at. And one thing, too, that I will say is that when you see Matt McLaughlin, who's a huge component of the NIL program, too, Keith Carter's here, his entire family is here. This is one cohesive unit. This is not a situation to where certain people do certain things. This is a situation to where it's all hands on deck. And everybody is, and I'm going to pull another old coach's quote out, and it's Houston Nutt. Everybody's pulling the same rope.
One heartbeat.
One heartbeat. And I know that sounds cliche and maybe somewhat stupid, but it's really fitting right here.
Absolutely. And there, as you see on the screen for those watching on YouTube, Brad probably sees it. Brad has to go to Omaha. He's got the mojo. We are going to get to Omaha. We got to figure out the travel piece, but we're going to get to Omaha one way or another. There's Bruce, my guy Bruce. He's always taking pictures. You're seeing, is that Cammy that they're
Yeah,
giving?
Cammy just delivered the ticket to Director of Athletics Keith Carter, and
Oh,
now
that's awesome.
Keith and his family is going to get a nice picture.
There's Keith Carter, Ole Miss Athletics Director. You're getting
Everybody getting a piece today of the
getting
the
a
camera.
live feed from Brad Logan, who's live on scene at Plainsman Park as Ole Miss advances to its 7th World Series in program or College World Series in program history, and will play the winner of the Chapel Hill Regional between UNC and USC. There was a question
as we see all the fans.
Yep,
still hanging out, still congratulating this team, and it's really cool to see.
There's a question in the chat, Brad. Do you think Ole Miss matches up better with UNC or USC? Does it really matter to you at this point? I think at this point, Ole Miss will say just spot the ball. Spot the ball.
Yeah, man. Let's pull the Pete Golding and say, man, just spot the ball. Because, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's Joel Mangrum. I've never seen him smile before. I've legit have never seen Joel Mangrum smile, and he is all ears right now. So it's really cool to see. You see him walking. I mean, it's a really cool moment. And we see, too, Auburn. This is what it means, man. This is what it's about. You see the two Auburn outfielders, and we see that's what baseball means to these people. It's what baseball means to all of us. And we see the two Auburn baseball players that are out there, and their season's over, Ben, and they've got an incredible team. And to be able to see Bruce here behind us taking that picture, that's going to be a good one. And I encourage you to look for that, and because that's what baseball means. We see the emotion out there as that particular player is probably hugging a loved one, and that's what it means. That's what baseball is about. That's what college baseball is about, and it's an incredibly cool moment here as the Rebels win tonight over Auburn, 2-0. Last I checked, Ben, Ole Miss has not lost in the NCAA regionals.
They haven't, and you got work to do.
Unless my Bruce math is incorrect. Yep, I'm headed to the press conference. I guess, Ben, keep it live, and then I do not anticipate it lasting very long. I'll jump back on, and then we'll go from there.
He's Brad Logan. They're live from Plainsman Park. You're seeing it.
It's been a pleasure, man. It's really been a pleasure. It's really been
congratulations to you, man. The man on
thanks
the
everybody
always.
for jumping on.
That's Brad Logan. He's the man live from Plainsman Park. Ole Miss is headed to Omaha after sweeping the Auburn Super Regional, headed to the College World Series for the 7th time in program history. This is Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. Brad's on-site reporting, and there'll be plenty more of it at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com to fit them on through. This QR code right here above my head is for the Ole Miss Spirit. As a new member, if you scan this and sign up today, you can get the Ole Miss Spirit for half off an annual subscription. We'd love to have you. It's the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com to fit them on through the QR code on your screen. Scan it. New member, try us out for half off the annual sub price. And we're going to have wall-to-wall coverage of Ole Miss punching its ticket to Omaha in the College World Series with a 5-3 win over Auburn, 6-4 on Friday night. Walker Hooks, little shaky there to come in, gave it like the tie and run came to the plate, but he got it done back-to-back nights, closing games out. What a story, man. What a run, and what a great group of guys. I saw some folks talking in the comments specifically about Judd, about Will Furness. A lot of these guys could have left, had every reason to. Hunter Elliott, and they stayed. Remember how low you felt when Liam Doyle and Andrew Fisher got into the portal. You remember how you thought, man, 2022, yeah, it was an outlier season then. Everything, I said it, everything else before that, the 2 years before that, the years after, back-to-back losing seasons, and here they are returning to Omaha because guys stayed. Guys that care about this place, love this place, they stayed, and they care and wanted to see this outcome, not just for themselves, but for you. I think that's an incredible story. I wish I could properly convey how good of a person and just genuinely great dude Will Furness is. And to see him get that big knock, and make no mistake, it was a moonshot, especially coming off of not a great regional offensively for super regional offensively for him. I think he was 0 for 8 going into that at bat. I'm also watching Texas and Oregon play in the Auburn Super Regional. Texas just missed a 2-run home run in the bottom of the first inning. But for Fern to get that moment, I can't tell you how happy it made me. I know it made his family proud. I hope it made you proud, because this is a guy who loves this place, loves it, and has put years and years and has only wanted to get the opportunity to make this kind of an impact on this kind of a stage, and by golly, did he do it. Look at this shot, the go-ahead shot.
And the breaking ball hammered deep right field. It is gone! Go-ahead 2-run home run, Will Furness.
I still haven't seen the ball land. I still have not seen the ball land. And no one deserves it more than Will Furness. What an unbelievable human being. What a great baseball player. Consistent as hell this year. And look how much it means to him as he goes and celebrates with his teammates. This was a struggle. This was a difficult game for Ole Miss today. They went up against Auburn's ace. And it was tough. They struck out a lot. How many? 8? Yep, 8 strikeouts. But it didn't matter because they stuck with it. They figured out what their lineup is. Braden Randall in the outfield makes sense. They're playing their best ball at the right time. As one Tim Elko once said, they let the Rebs get hot. Hot they are. Headed to Omaha for the 7th time in program history. Let's hear from some of our sponsors. What an incredible, incredible run it's been. And it isn't over. June 12th through the 22nd is the College World Series. Any of y'all planning to go for all 10 days? I don't know if we're going to be able to. That's a pretty pity. But we're definitely going to be there. And when we do, we're going to have to do like a Talk of Champions watch along or something. Like maybe have a Jell-O shot challenge just for Talk of Champions. I know Mary and Will will show up. And if they don't, maybe Dakota will show up. Whoever's in the chat talking right now, thank you for joining us. Over 1,200 people watching us live. Y'all are the best fans in the world, and y'all have been so good to Brad and I, and Brad me. And Brad's being live on the scene at Plaisman Park on the field, watching Mike celebrate with the trophy, and Fern and Judd. Where else can you get that? And he will always be on the scene. My man will always be on the scene. Let's hear from some of our sponsors. This is Talk of Champions.
Homes and businesses from the whims of nature. You need more than just quality materials. You require Riverland Roofing. Licensed, insured, and certified, Riverland Roofing offers not only the assurance of excellence, but a tailored approach to your unique structural needs and budget. To learn more about what Riverland Roofing can do for you and the community, call them at 662-644-4297 or visit riverlandroofing.com.
Hey, Rebels, your truck is here. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford presents the all-new Ram Rebel. It's Ram, the Rebel way. Send an unmistakable signal. Rebel 24/7. Ram Rebel from your friend in the car business. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Oxford.
Come by, let's be friends. I'm Warrior Philip Hearn. Raising my family here in Mississippi, I've tried to teach my kids to help others. I learned that from my parents. And as a Mississippi lawyer, I want to help you too. If you're hurt in a traffic accident, 18-wheeler wreck, or have insurance trouble, call 601-720-3541. That's my cell. You call, I'll answer. Let's get started. Make your first call to the Hearn Law Firm today.
Bye, babe. Let's get to work.
Advanced technology to accelerate business growth. There's more to see.
Start my weekend.
C-Spire. Customer inspired.
You're looking now at the stats for Ole Miss's win over Auburn to sweep the Auburn Super Regional. Dom Decker was 0 for 3 but scored a run. Judd Udemark, 1 for 2, 2 RBIs, the big double to get Ole Miss on the board first, to get that 2-0 lead. Fern with the 2-run home run, and he and Tristan Bissetta, the Clemson transfer, go back-to-back, and Ole Miss wins and sweeps their way to Omaha for the 7th time in program history. They still haven't lost. They still haven't lost. Echoes of 2022 when they won 10 of 11 postseason games as the last team named to the NCAA tournament. This team is better than that team ever was going into the postseason. And I mean that sincerely and not to diminish 2022 at all, but that team got into the College World Series and won it as the last team because Mike Bianco personally petitioned John Cohen. He said, John, we need to get in there like good program shepherds do. Because Mike, yes, had his own self-interest in mind as well. He was not going to be Ole Miss's head baseball coach anymore. It was probably going to be Butch Thompson, who he just beat and swept in 2 games at the Auburn Super Regional, an Amory native. So that team got in and did just get hot. This team has been good all year and was in a better starting place to make this run than that team ever was. What a testament then it is, and what it says about what Will Furness told me in the bowels of Swayze Field as we were doing a media op. That schedule, that toughest schedule in the country, prepared them for this, and they felt like they were as confident as they could possibly be going into Lincoln and then into Auburn, even though they hadn't played Auburn. And that was a hostile environment. Auburn only has capacity for like 4,500, 10,000 or something show up. They set out chairs for general admission. It was packed, and it was Auburn fans, and Ole Miss shut them up twice when they really tried to get into it. They really tried, did Auburn fans, to give Auburn a home field advantage, and Ole Miss, the players, like the fans were amazing, but there's no overcoming 4-1 odds. They still did an amazing job. The players went and shut them up. Taylor Rabe was incredible. He's the player of the game. If I'm going to hand out a Talk of Champions postgame, was wait for Brad, who was live from Plainsman Park, live from the field. You saw the celebration. He's going to bring some postgame sound. I don't know how long we're going tonight, but we're going a little longer. They're going to Omaha, for goodness sake. My friend Nilson Dillard from New Albany says hello. Hi, Ben Garrett. I know, buddy. Good to see you. Hello to you, too. Hotty toddy back to you. William says hotty toddy love. But that team in 2022 just got hot. This team was good all year. Yes, they fell short of hosting, and you never want to fall short of hosting as an Ole Miss team, but dead gum were they good. And there were some frustrating losses. Frustrating. The Georgia, when they felt like they should have, let alone win the series, but sweep Georgia and lost that series. Arkansas, same kind of deal. Perfect opportunities to host, but would you have it any other way now that you've seen this result? Of course not. Of course not. Williams says that Rabe is the player of the season. I would agree. He started out in the bullpen. Your third starter was Will Libbert, who was great for Ole Miss and Lincoln. They didn't need him this weekend, but they're going to need him now in Omaha, which runs June 12th through the 22nd. Andrew Collier, 5011. Ben, you caught it when the season started. You said this team is built for Omaha. I was here when you said it, bro. Thank you. Thank you for keeping the receipts for me. I was as disappointed as everyone else that Oxford and the Oxford community wasn't hosting a regional, because I know how much it means, even more so than places like Auburn or pick your SEC school, for the local community that is Oxford. That's who really needs Ole Miss to host. This team didn't need to host. Hell, they said that to me. They were disappointed, obviously, but they're like, okay, fine, we got to go on the road. We played on the road. I think what they said, one player said to me, like, remember Ohio State? Yeah, they thought that Ohio State was better than Nebraska, and they got Ohio State pretty good. I mean, these guys were confident and believed, and even though the disappointment of not hosting a regional was real, would you trade it? Of course you wouldn't, and there were so many heroes. Taylor Rabe, I agree with William from the chat. He is the player of the season. He started out in the bullpen. Now he was the bullpen ace. Hudson Calhoun has been that. Walker Hooks has been that. But this is before Walker Hooks came out and really cemented his place as a bullpen anchor. And Will Libbert struggled. The stuff is electric. Real projectability for Major League Baseball. But Taylor Abe was too good, too undeniably good, that he had to be put in the rotation. And this start, 7 innings, 6 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks. The 4th straight game for Taylor Abe, and make sure I got it right. 4th straight game with 8 or more strikeouts. That's the longest streak in a season by an Ole Miss pitcher this decade. So 10 years, if the math is correct. 10 years. And Taylor Abe was a guy that started in the bullpen and became this. And I saw it before the game started. I can't remember who put it out there on Twitter, but Cade Townsend isn't the only top 100 prospect for the Major League Baseball draft. Taylor Abe's another one of them. Like another pitcher. He's not the only pitcher because I think Ole Miss, there's high school side. There's other guys that have real projectability and draft momentum. But if we're talking about the 2 hottest, it's Cade and Taylor Abe. And they're not that far off. And considering where Cade has been, which is in that top 20 conversation all year, that's crazy to think. But that's how far Taylor Abe has come as a strikeout pitcher. You're going to have to replace, for sure, Taylor Abe and Cade Townsend at the end of the year. And somebody on the Ole Miss Spirit message board, omspirit.com, and affiliate of On 3. That QR code on your screen, new members, scan it, sign up, half off an annual subscription. Someone on the Ole Miss Spirit said, it's going to hurt to lose Cade Townsend and Taylor Abe. Well, sure. Of course it will. It's not going to hurt at all because when banners fly forever, if you win the whole dead gum thing, you take that swap 1,000 times out of 1,000. But there is the reality that Ole Miss is going to have to replace at least those 2. I think Hunter could come back. He's got 1 more year. Andrew Collier, where's Rabe going in the draft? He's a redshirt sophomore. He's a top 100 prospect right now for the draft. He's going to be drafted based off of late season work alone. But it'll be fascinating to see how they fill out that rotation. I don't know if Walker Hooks becomes a starter for them. Grayson Gibson, there are some guys out there. I do think that if you made me handicap it, I'm not reporting that it's happening, and it could go the other way just as easily. But if you made me handicap it, I say Hunter's back next year. Become the Ole Miss pitcher of all Ole Miss pitchers. But so many heroes today. Braden Randall was 1 for 3 playing left field. It's his first time this weekend in Auburn. It was the first time for Braden Randall playing the outfield since U14 ball. I think that's what they said in the post-game press conference. That is insane. And you didn't notice him, and that's like the best compliment you could possibly give anyone. Unbelievable job by Ole Miss baseball. So I'm kind of like watching games at the same time, reading the chat, watching highlights of the game. Who was your hero in the chat? Who was your biggest hero not named Will Furness? Probably going to be Taylor Abe. How about we take the whole composite weekend then? Walker Hooks has to be in there. He closed back-to-back games. 2.43 ERA on the season. Williams says he thinks our best overall, most consistent hitter all year was Fern. I don't disagree. That's why he was firmly entrenched in the 3-hole. But this particular regional was tough for him. Before that homer he was 0 for 8, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what Brad said, and I haven't verified if he was wrong. So we'll just claim that he was. Hayden Frederico absolutely gets a helmet sticker for his unbelievable catch. Let's watch Fern's homer one more time, though. I mean, he crushed this ball.
Breaking ball hammered deep right field. It is gone! Go ahead, 2-run home run, Will Furness.
Oh, I love that. That never gets old, the hop and the boom. Andrew Collier says, we want Brad. We want Brad. We got Brad for the first 26 minutes here on the postgame with Talking Champions. He was live on the field. We saw the trophy. We saw Mike Bianco. We saw Keith Carter. Fern gave a shout out to the audience for the Talking Champions audience. It was really, really cool. And that's what we plan to do best we can from Omaha. We're not going to be able to go for the full 10 days, I assume. But we're going to absolutely be there when they dogpile on the mound if they win the whole thing. Got to be there. And we'll do like the same thing with Brad. Let him just roll out there and we'll have like the full celebration and Brad will just be like walking around doing a thing. But what an incredible story for this that this team is, man. Taylor Rabe, a lot of you are saying Taylor Rabe was the MVP of the weekend. Rabe, Hooks, and Randall says at Titans_Mafia. Fed absolutely. Fed, that catch that Fed made was absolutely insane. Saved the game. There were 2 men on. The game was tied. It was the top of the 8th inning. If he doesn't make this catch, Ole Miss trails and probably even loses.
10 men on base in the loss last night. Golf to center field. Federico got fooled. That is into his glove. What a recovery by Hayden Federico. Wow. That'll get the heart rate going.
That's 2 runs right there that I guess he saved. He made a mistake by coming in, but what an athlete, Hayden Federico.
That was the thing. He broke in and then broke back. Almost cost himself, but he's really developed into a good center fielder. Like, that is a infielder, and Mike Bianco has done it all the time over his 26 years as a head coach at Ole Miss. Look at that catch. Full extension and snow coned it in the web of the the webbing of the glove. J.P. Robertson was a hero. He was a hero of not just this game, but the Lincoln Regional. There's Fern celebrating it too. Auburn had that one. Can we just take a moment to say the red on orange aesthetic here, the jersey matchup, can't do that ever again. That was brutal. At Gabe Buffkin 8164, Rabe, Hooks, Randall, and Fed. Good picks. Solid picks. Do we throw Cade on Friday since he didn't pitch? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I would venture to say yes. Give him even more rest. He'll be even on even more. But, like, he got hot at the end of the game today. So, I don't know. That'll be an interesting balance. I would be shocked if it's anybody but Hunter. I would be shocked. But Cade would make sense because he didn't pitch, but he did get hot today and would have come into the game had the game gotten even hairier because the winning run did come to the plate against Walker Hooks. What an unbelievable catch by Fed. So, yeah, I would say it's going to be Hunter, but they were wanting to end it today. They had no interest in this being drug out to tomorrow. And if not for that big catch by Fed, it's 4-2 and top of the 8th. And Ole Miss, it's just different. It's completely different. Ace of Spades says you got to go Hunter. I don't disagree, man. As Texas with a home run, the 18th homer of the year by Casey Borba makes it 3-0 over Oregon. If Ole Miss's win, 2-game sweep of Auburn, sets up Ole Miss to play in the first round in Omaha, the winner of the Chapel Hill bracket, or the Chapel Hill Super Regional, I should say. And right now, the Chapel Hill Super Regional is tied at 1-1. Mississippi State's up 1-0 in the Athens Regional. Jumped all over Georgia. Georgia was my pick to come out of that side of the bracket as far as representing that side of the bracket in the national championship game. There is a path. All they got to do is Ole Miss and State keep winning, where Ole Miss and State could play for a national championship in Omaha. How amazing would that be? It was really funny. I was talking to some Mississippi State friends who are fans. And it's so funny because I will tell anyone and be dead honest and say, Mississippi State is better than Ole Miss in every way in baseball right now. They just are. The stadium's better structurally, financially. That's like, and part of that is because football is such a disaster for them, and that's their only way to keep a foothold in the SEC space. It's better. So them winning that national championship for Ole Miss fans was the worst thing ever because they could lord it over you forever. They have nothing else. And then the very next year, Ole Miss wins a title. They didn't even get a year. And it just absolutely eats at State fans. It does, that they didn't get to hold it over your head. I don't blame them. I'd have done the same stuff. So imagine if you could settle that. You could settle that score by them playing each other, let alone, like on top of these two teams are bitter in-state rivals. It's the Egg Bowl on dirt. That would be, so much fun. William says, thanks, Ben, for bringing up the red and orange nightmare. Yeah, the jersey combo was awful. We're waiting for Brad Logan. He's going to bring post-game sound. He's in the press conference right now. He first started out on the field. The first 30 minutes of this podcast were spent with the team as they celebrated. Brad was right there. Clem walked up and said hello, Fern. Ole Miss is headed to the College World Series to Omaha for the 7th time in school history, the 3rd time since the 70s. 2014, 2022, and now 2026. I remember there's an LSU fan in the chat. Well, as the season was getting started, it was amidst all the I don't want to say it because y'all get mad at me when I do, but all the Lane stuff was going crazy still. It was like February. And we were really dipping into baseball here on Talking Champions. Powered as always by Riverland Roofing. College Corner, y'all get the complete shout out for what y'all did for Brad. Sending Brad to the Auburn Super Regional. He got to bring us live coverage from the field. That was all College Corner. So shop College Corner for all your Ole Miss merch. Call them today at 662-550-4330. 662-550-4330. Online at collegecornerstore.com. But in February, there was an old State fan in the chat. He gets in our chat pretty regularly. He's a good dude. He's just typical LSU troll. And he mentioned how y'all shows are always the same, hyping it up, all this hype, and then you're letting your people down. I stood on what I believed to be true, that this team was, and this was knowing Judd, knowing Fern, Hunter being back, having Clem tell me both on and off the record it was the most pitching depth they ever had. I believe this team was built for Omaha, and here they are. And they have a real good shot to win it all. A real good shot. Texas is jumping all over Oregon. All over Oregon. But College Corner, thank you for what y'all done sending them there. Georgia won the game. It says on the NCAA thing that it's 1-0. Am I wrong? No, you're probably right. John Carter says State, never heard of them. What if that's the final, though? Settling the score with a bitter in-state rival national champion. Can you imagine? If State doesn't make it to Omaha, sorry for us. Yes, it'll be insane. Be insane, clown posse. Like you want to ruin the Brian O'Connor honeymoon really fast? Let Ole Miss get to Omaha and State not. Ace of Spades claims the state national championship has a massive asterisk anyway since NC State got COVID. That's the rival energy we need, Ace of Spades. That's the rival energy you need to keep up, especially if they get into the final, which if Georgia won. They got it totally wrong in the NCAA bracket. I thought so too, but I was like, well, you probably went to sleep, and then sure enough, they say it on the NCAA site. They're wrong. But Ole Miss is going to get the winner of the Chapel Hill USC, Southern Cal winner from the Chapel Hill Super Regional. Who do y'all think Ole Miss should want more, North Carolina or Southern Cal? Doesn't matter with how well this team is playing. Yeah, I knew they'd hit bombs. Yeah, State hit like 6 bombs at Matty P 24-7. They jumped all over them. And they lost. Well, I was reading it wrong, guys. I'm sorry. It says 0 losses, 1 loss. I'm okay. Sorry. I was reading it wrong. I got swept up in the excitement. Brad was live on the field. I felt like we got to hold this trophy. Live podcasting. And we're waiting for Brad Logan to join us with post-game sound. Mike Albert 8958. Ole Miss owes Southern Cal from 1964. 1964. Joseph Moore says you want Southern Cal. So does Eric B. and Taylor Johnson. You want Southern Cal. I'm taking y'all's word for it. I'm enthralled. This has been one of the best postseason or NCAA tournaments in college baseball in a long, long time. The unpredictability of it. Troy's hosting a super regional. How cool is that? But more importantly, Ole Miss is advanced. And what we've learned most of all about this team is it doesn't, like, they shower well. That's something that Mike Bianco talks about all the time. And I roll my eyes at it a little bit. We all do, kind of, because you just go out there, win the games, man. You know, host a regional, blah, 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 blah. I got a 22-year-old 04 F-150. Do I wish I had a newer car? Of course I do. But it's what I drive. And it's dependable, and it looks beautiful for how old it is. It's still getting it done. That's Mike Bianco. He's my 04 F-150. And some days you go, God, I wish I was driving, like, I don't know, one of those beautiful trucks that all you guys got around here, you know, them AT4s or whatever they are. But Mike has got them back again, and this time he didn't need to appeal to John Cohen to get into the tournament because he was fried as a coach. He got in on the merits. You can't touch him. Congratulations to him. He deserves it. Joel Mangrum deserves it. Mike Clement deserves it. Did Mike Clement have an up and down tough year with his offense? Yes. My dude who's always on Talk of Champions will tell you that. I need Ben at Brandon Tyler 7410. I need Ben to have a jello shot and call Lane Ho at the same time. Speaking of, shout out to my friends at Game Time here in New Albany. At Game Time, it's the best, one of the best meals in New Albany. You get you a Philly cheesesteak, a chicken Philly. They're awesome, and they learned today or recognized and really understood what happened today, that all of that was me. We had a great conversation and talked about, they were like, well, how could, please say that Ludacris is coming on the 19th. I would love to say so. I don't know. I would love to say Brad Logan's going to get here soon so we could hear some post-game sound. I don't know about that either. Might just cut it short and move on and let Brad bring the rest of the post-game at the Ole Miss Spirit. How about that? But let's close up with comments. I want to hear your questions. Thanks to College Corner. We got to hear from Brad live. That was awesome. Let's close this out with what this means. So Tipsy Ben will release the Langstein files with the right amount of jello shots. All you got to do is, if you want to hear any stories, just come up and find me and give me one. Jello shot. I'm going to be there. We're going to do live. I'll do live from the jello shot. Are we going to meet there? If Ole Miss makes the championship, because none of us are going to be there for 10 days. We can't. None of us can afford that. I can't. On Thursday's not going to pay for me to go. So here we go. If Ole Miss gets to the championship, we're all meeting for a jello shot, right? And we'll do a live podcast, and we'll Brad won't drink, but I will. So we'll let Brad host it while and whoever wants to be interviewed, like Dakota, John Carter, if you are there, come find. We'll set up the place. Brad will interview you while me and Will and Mary will take jello shots. Because that sounds like a delightful time. And now that could Brandon Tyler, Ben and Bentley live from Omaha. Ulysses Bentley has a standing invitation to join us here on Talk of Champions. At Dustin Jameson, final thoughts as we wrap up the postgame of Talk of Champions. More at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate on 3, including a story from Jake, postgame sound and stories from everything they said from me and others. Brad's going to have a full postgame report from the stands. I think Brad is still, he's going to be tied up for a little longer. I figured that he would, but I'm so thankful to get to do this, even if I was riding alone for most of it, just so we can see the live stuff and talk to y'all, because what a ride it's been. And here Talk of Champions continues to push on. You almost got the national championship in football, and now you got a chance, and you're still alive in the chase for national championship in baseball. Who's got it better than Ole Miss right now? Yeah, basketball sucked, but I'm asking you, who's got it better than Ole Miss right now? Do not take these times for granted. Don't get spoiled by this. I grew up tortured by Ole Miss sports. Like when you really cared, well, it was your entire existence back then. This was still at a time when not every game was broadcast, for goodness sakes. And man, it hurt the Evan Button game. It hurt when Stephen Head struck out against Texas. It hurt when Miami and Ricky Weeks, Jamil Weeks, like Ricky Weeks' little brother, Jamil Weeks rolled into town and beat Ole Miss in his Super. The Virginia series, that pain. Football never came close to really compete for a national championship. Not really. Like the true celebration of my young growing up, like from 0 to about 18, the best I got it for Ole Miss was the 2003 season when Ole Miss won 10 games and ran through the SEC schedule. And even then, they lost to Texas Tech and Memphis with Eli. The Cotton Bowl felt huge. Now, if you go to the Cotton Bowl, don't take it for granted. Listen to me in my age 40 year. Listen to William and Mary in the chat. To all of those. Dakota, like, I don't know who else is in their 30s, 40s. Like, we're the adults in the room now, and that's terrifying for all of us, and especially those 50 and 60-year-old people. But they will tell you even more so, like, don't take this for granted. Relish in it. Appreciate it. Give God thanks for it. What if, like someone said in the chat when we were watching Brad walk around with all the players and the coaches and they were celebrating the title, it was like a big family reunion. That's exactly what it was. That's what the Georgia win was in football. When it felt like Ole Miss had arrived at a different place. Like Omaha felt so far away. The euphoria, I was there. I was on the field like Brad was today when Ole Miss won the Lafayette Super Regional and punched their ticket in 2014 with Holt Pertzak and those guys. Cliff Godwin, the euphoria they felt because it was like a woolly mammoth had been removed from their shoulders because they felt the pressure too. And now they celebrate and they celebrated right. I mean, Judd and them, but also it was more measured, more withdrawn than that one was because Ole Miss expects to be here, even though they were a 2 seed, even though a lot of us, from the fans to the media, said it was a disappointment or it was not acceptable to not be hosting a regional, and yet they still got there and they celebrated on an SEC rivals mound, and they had a celebration, but it wasn't. They got business left to do. Job's not done. Job is not done. That's incredible where Ole Miss is. John Carter, the logo means something. Gary Whitlock, 6560. Ben Siskey, speaking of Tyler Siskey, my dude, I love Tyler Siskey, said something to the effect that Ole Miss was going to win because the Devil's gone to Baton Rouge. Oh, my gosh, I love that. That's hilarious. What a hilarious way to put that. No, I would say, I said Ole Miss in 3. I said Rebs in 3. I've got it documented proof. Just because I thought that, like, Auburn would be better than, like, I was underwhelmed by Auburn. They're a good team, but, like, Ole Miss was clearly better to me than Auburn. Is that, like, insane to say? Is that homerish to say? Like, there was never a time that I thought Ole Miss wasn't going to win this series. Like, the only tinge of doubt I ever came close to having was when that ball was hit and Hayden Frederico broke in. I'm thinking, oh, shit. Like this could be it. And he made the play. I remember the times when Ole Miss didn't make the play. Now it makes the play. East Feliciana Reb. Thank you, my friend. Word, Ben. 31 here. It was rough at times, but it also made us loyal as hell. Exactly. It's why it means something to you still when, like, it shouldn't, because all it is now mostly is money. Like, there was a different connective tissue back then. The only thing that's going to keep the spirit of college sports alive is this loyalty. Is this still like local pride or like family-like, reunion-like relationship you have with your team? And that is no better embodied than with like guys like Fern and Judd and Hunter, of course, who stayed. And they didn't have to. Honestly, the current environment would have told them to leave. Now, did they get paid? Of course they got paid. Hayden Frederico was one of the toughest renegotiations last offseason based off of what, like, his production, his perceived value, because his agent and him felt they were worth this. I mean, this is collective bargaining without collectively bargaining. So Ole Miss, it's no hard feelings. Like they say, well, we think we're worth this. Ole Miss says, well, this is what you did. This is what you're worth. And this is what we can pay you. And Hayden Frederico, there were times where he was blowing up Walker Jones's phone, man, because like he had real opportunity to go elsewhere. I don't know this for verifiable fact. I'm not going to put it out, but like it would be shocking to me if he did not take less to stay at Ole Miss because Ole Miss got it, and because of the special nature of it. The money component is poisoning all of it, not because the kids don't deserve to be confiscated. They absolutely do, but because there's no rules and regulations. The Spirit is perceived as like keep the group together and hold together. The loyalty, East Feliciana Rev, the loyalty. Absolutely right. That is crazy. All right. At Pat Zero, don't take it for granted. That's all I'm saying. At this point, we should just wait for Brad, right? If y'all think so, just hand up, say yes. Hey, Nelson. Nelson is a very old friend of mine, y'all, and Nelson has been a dear friend for a long time. He was a manager for us on the football team at New Albany High School. Also played for a little while, too. He was in my brother's grade. Nelson, you're awesome. Love you to death, buddy. That's Nelson Diller. He's blowing up the chat, but y'all give him some love. He's an awesome dude. I don't remember what I was about to say because I now it's 4-0 between Texas and Oregon. All right, I'm going to go back to the chat real quick. I got thrown off there. Ben, where is it? Ben, you're so right on. I've been an Ole Miss fan since the late 70s. Been some hard times. Yes. At the old baseball coach says, wait on Brad. Okay, I'm with it. We'll just ride it out. I never once felt that Ole Miss wasn't going to win that series. So don't take it for granted. You younger fans, I mean, there are thousands of you in here now. And for you younger fans out there that are like stoked as hell, first of all, rock on. I'm right there with you. This isn't Herculean anymore. It's what it's supposed to be. Ole Miss is supposed to be going to Omaha, but it doesn't rob Ole Miss of the significance of the accomplishment. It might Bianco of the significance of the accomplishment, especially when, against the backdrop of the 2022 season, because Mike just begged for his job. That's what happened. And like, there's been a change in Mike. He's much more chill, much more pragmatic. He's always been pragmatic, but like, there isn't an emotional component anymore. And now there's always going to be Fire Bianco posts on the Ole Miss Spirit, anywhere else. There's always going to be that when they lose they drop a midweek to Memphis, lose to State again in Pearl. I just hope that Georgia finishes off Mississippi State at this point. I don't want that finale because like all I can think is like Ole Miss doesn't beat State in baseball. I don't want that to be on a national stage. God, can you imagine the pressure though? Like the State doesn't feel any pressure. All the pressure's on Ole Miss in that scenario. At Austin Blance, it says, hey, not to be creepy, but Ben, I saw you at the warehouse in Yawman a few weeks ago. Didn't want to bother you. Can we see if the warehouse can become a show sponsor? I know all the people at the warehouse. First of all, next time come say hello. I love to meet Ole Miss people and or just to meet people in general. God is good, and I am everybody's sports guy to talk to when they're out. So please talk to me because otherwise I'm not serving as God commands. But yeah, I know everybody at the warehouse. My guy, Austin Kent, shout out. Like, well, absolutely. I'll approach him. Or I'll just give him a shout out now. Go to the warehouse in New Albany. Go to Game Time, my guys that wanted to talk about Lane Kiffin host stuff this afternoon. That was fun. The Mike Bianco comparison to my 04 F-150 is apt because like a piece of paneling came off as I was coming back from Memphis. My brother and I swapped cars for a few days. And I was coming back and I guess the Mississippi heat and hail and rain for 22 years, a piece of paneling just flew off. And now it looks like my truck has been shot up on the side. My BRT, my big red truck with King Timmy, a 3D little walrus with a crown and a sword in his hand that my daughter made. He's the protector of the BRT. Driving back, a piece of paneling fell off. And you're like, damn it, man. Like it's gotten this far and it's so consistent and so reliable, but just it's not as great as it was. There's still some stuff about it that just drives you crazy, including a piece of paneling that flies off when you're just driving home, listening to David Kellum on the radio because you don't have like Apple CarPlay. You have one of those old pioneers. Ben Sane Clown Posse. Next time I'm in New Albany, I'm going to Game Time. Yes, that's what we need. It's TYME. My guys at Game Time will take care of you. Get the Philly or the chicken Philly. But that BRT is still rolling. It'll outlive any other car. And Mike Bianco is still rolling. But even more so, he has gotten better. Like the paint's not chipped. It's not. It's still shining like the BRT. Yeah, there might be a piece of paneling gone. We can get that replaced. It's like getting a pitching coach. There is something to be said in the chaotic nature that is NIL to have the insane stability that is Mike Bianco, especially if he's going to Omaha twice in 4 years. That's what all Ole Miss fans would have traded for when he lobbied for his job in 2022, me included. Like, I will be honest to everybody, Mike too. Like, Mike's been honest with me. I've been honest with him. Like, it's not personal. But, like, what an incredible story it is that Mike just keeps rolling. His dome is shiny, says Mary. Yeah, that dome is shiny, you know. At Matt Smith, you get it. My guy at Matt Smith, 28-19. But it's paid off. It's paid off. It's paid off. It's only got 230,000 miles on it. In the chaotic nature, like, we live in the most expensive time in the history of the world. Why would I want to give up my 04 BRT right now? Especially since my wife's off the lot expedition shit the bed way before it's supposed to, in 6 months before it's supposed to be paid off. Right? But she has to get a new car. So we get her a Wagoneer at Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford. Go see Mason and Brian. They're absolutely the best. That's the God's honest truth. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to buy another car from them because, like, the BRT looks like it's been shot up. But it's paid off. We live in the most expensive time in the history of the world. It's just like NIL. We live in the most chaotic time in the history of college athletics. But you have to get to Omaha. Getting to the tournament became the benchmark after the championship, and then you went back-to-back losing seasons. Like, the only thing you couldn't do. Mary says, my Pioneer system and Luda were bumping. That's pretty much me. At Ben St. Clown Posse, hey, an old red doesn't have all the tracking electronics the new cars have. Yeah, like, Mike is not, like, he is more analytically bent than he's ever been, but he's never going to be a guy that leans fully into analytics. Like, Butch Thompson's out there shifting. Do you think when has the Mike ever shifted? I mean, you could argue that shifts are all that worth it to begin with. That's debatable. But, like, Mike is not ever going to be that kind of dude. But he's adjusted enough. He hired a pitching coach. Like, old Mike would have never batted Judd Udemark in the 2-hole. That's a three true outcome hitter. Strikeout, home run, walk. He did a lot of that this weekend. Yesterday had 3 Ks. I'm sure he had Ks today. No, he didn't. He didn't strike out at all. He walked twice, and he homered. Or he doubled the double. He was 1 for 2 with the double. Judd Udemark is the best. Oh, he's an awesome human being. His parents are awesome, too. And it was cool that Brad caught up with Fern. Absolutely right, Matt Smith, 28-19. Look at what LSU paid for their squad, and look where they are. That's the point of all of this rambling is we wait for Brad to come back to us after the live spot from the field. He'll be coming back to join us live for the rest of the post-game show with some sound and this, that, and the other. I think he's texting me right now, actually. The team interviews press conference. Oh, okay, so he sent me the press conference. We'll get to that in just a second. You're going to hear from Mike Bianco and others. He is on his way back in, so we made it. Did I entertain y'all enough? I hope so. I did my best. But to land this plane about Mike Bianco, my 04 F-150, it's paid off. The paint still looks pretty dang good, right? Yeah, cleaned up those yellow headlights up front, right? And she looks kind of like new. Like my great-granddaddy used to say. Now, he was an old miser in my granddaddy Brotherton, but it's still the God's honest truth, man. You don't like the car you got? Wash it. You want a new car? Wash the one you got. Not saying Mike Bianco needs wash. I'm just saying when you go to Omaha, in the face of that constant, always going to be there, regardless of this trip and the next trip, if there is another trip, credit to Mike Bianco. He is a good dude. He gives a shit about this place. And look at the culture of it. in the chaotic nature of it, just like we live in the most expensive time in the history of the world, of course I should want to keep my BRT as long as it'll stay alive. I, of course, would want the Honda Tucson that Alan Samuels sent home with me that I just love so much. And unfortunately, Mason knows this, and I'm going to want to buy the car. The responsible thing is go with what works, and it's working. And they're back in Omaha based off of nothing but they didn't lobby. They didn't get it by, the stroke of a pen, not dumb luck. They went about a roundabout way and they got there. Hey, Brad, how are you? I was finishing up my whole comparison of Mike to my 04 F-150. My buddy friend over here looks exhausted. How are you? I can't hear you. Let's let him unmute himself.
There we go. A lot of sunshine, a lot of exuberance, and we've got a baseball team that's headed to Omaha, and I never dreamed we would be talking about this at this point of the season. I thought it was really neat. And Ben, by the way, I texted you Mike's press conference.
I'm working on it. I've got it. You keep going.
Yeah, Mike. The question I ask him is, one of the many things we saw at the beginning of the show tonight. Which, by the way, if you're just joining us, you've got to go back and rewatch the feed because we had an opportunity of seeing a whole bunch of stuff. And but I encourage you to go back and watch. And Mike, at one point, took his hat off and did the wave to the crowd, and I thought that was really neat. And I think that says a lot about him as a coach and him as an Ole Miss Rebel. Frankly, I mean that's where we're at. And Matt, yes, I had to wear a hat today. As you can see, my face, I'm completely burned. And I was nervous, so I was walking around all over the place. But I thought too he was very open and honest about as a manager. A head coach now with understanding that there are other obviously ways he can be a head coach and not just specifically hone in on, for example, Joel Manger, the pitching coach, Mike Clement, who he gave a big shout out today as the hitting coach. Obviously, Carl Lafferty and others on this team, and so many GAs and so many managers and so many people that help the wheel move. I think it says a lot about Mike that he's been able to adapt, if you will. And he specifically talked about being able to understand roles on teams. And he admitted, he said, I've gotten better as a manager because of that. But yeah, between that and just how proud he is of leadership, every show that I've been on and everything that I previewed here on Talk of Champions and everywhere else, I've talked about leadership, and I've talked about how important it is to be a leader. I've talked about how important I believe that having that leadership is going to pay dividends for this baseball team, and it paid out here tonight. And I thought it was a huge win tonight with a lot of reasons. And look, I said it in the post game earlier, and I'll say it here now. Federico's catch is the play of the year. The moment of the year, Ben, is the 6th inning in Nebraska. They're gonna put that on my tombstone. The 6th inning in Nebraska. But I
you've
think
been talking about that, buddy, for a minute.
But I think the proudest moment of the year, and there's a picture that I've got on social channels that it's Mike Bianco hugging a member of the staff and holding a trophy in his right hand. And I don't know if that's more memorable or Mike waving to the crowd and thanking the crowd. I'm just so proud to be a part of this show. I'm so proud to have people walk up to me and just hug me and say thank you, and we're ready to see Ben in Omaha. And it's just been really cool getting to see so many people. A really kind of circle, and I don't think they'll mind me telling this, a kind of a full circle moment. I talked to Braden Randall's dad at the hotel last night, and I'll tell you what I told him. I mean, I said, for a guy that is an incredible player, but for whatever reason, and I'm not, throwing Mike under the bus or anybody else, he just wasn't given a shot like I think he needed. I mean, you and I have been talking about Braden Randall, whether it be short, third, it's just kind of been a thing. And for Mike to adapt and to put him in left field, which he hasn't played since 14U, I think says a lot about him as a coach. But I'm going to be honest with you, Ben. I think it says more about Braden Randall as a player. He never quit on his team. He never gave up. He was on the bench. He was a support member. He came in pinch hit situations. He randomly DH'd. But I told all that to his dad last night. I said, it's one thing to get base hits. And But whenever Braden moves on in life and becomes incredible at what he does, whether if it's not a baseball player, I'm sure he'll be successful in another form of life or whatever. He's going to look back and think about when times are tough and adversity hits, you just pull your bootstraps up and you go to work. And I told his dad that last night. And funny, I saw Braden by himself just kind of looking around tonight, and I went up, shook his hand, and said, man, I'm proud of you. Not just because of what you've done here at the Auburn Regional, but my goodness, for what you've done as a teammate, as a player, you should be very proud of yourself. He said, my dad said he talked to you, and that meant a lot to me. So, yeah, I mean, wins and losses, I get it. Home runs and stormtrooper hats and all that. That's all, fun and games and whatever. But at the end of the day, we're talking about real people, real lives, real opportunities to grow as people. And I know, maybe 22, I get it, maybe 14, and maybe some teams that didn't make it this far. But, Ben, for whatever reason, this team is incredibly special. And I said Miss Cindy at the top of the show, and I'm sure she's watching, but Miss Cindy was right. She said this team is special. This team has a special group of parents. This has a very, very big support staff. If you remember, earlier tonight, we saw Mike on the field with his entire family. And they're here. They're all Ole Miss, and they're all about it.
And they're very Catholic. They're very Catholic. So there's a lot of them, like that's a big old group.
And, there are a lot of us that questioned after the 22 national championship, 23 and 24, last year losing to the Supers. Me, not so much, but there's a lot of online chatter about Mike. Is it time to kind of gracefully walk away? And I never really did that, but obviously there was a lot of disappointment. I'm not saying Keith Carter's the smartest guy in the room, but I was kind of looking at him tonight thinking, he remembers that contract that was signed after the championship. And I'm not saying everybody's with egg on their face by any stretch, because that's not how we roll here on the show. But I do think there's a level of from Keith Carter, not because he thought he may have done something wrong. He had affirmation tonight that was the right decision. And Mike essentially has a lifetime contract. And I think people kick back on that because this, for whatever reason, but he showed tonight that he's all Ole Miss. He showed tonight that he is, an incredible baseball coach, one of the best to ever do it, that they've got to do something at the front of the stadium with Bianco and notifying the 14 regional in Lafayette winning, going to Omaha, the 22 regional in Arizona and Miami and going to Omaha, winning it all, Hattiesburg and all that good stuff. And then, of course, the regional that Ole Miss ran through here in Auburn, to note that Mike has taken this team. And I don't think we need to forget, and I know it doesn't have anything to do with Ole Miss, but he should be commended too for being a large part of the LSU championship. Now, I know Ole Miss doesn't necessarily, and I know there was a whole thing with Skip Bertman Day and all that, but I didn't ask tonight that I didn't think it was the right place to ask about, what he learned from Skip. And one day we will, and I'm going to get Mike on the show, and I want to go deeper into that LSU relationship, growing up, playing under Coach Bertman, catching for Ben McDonald. Ben, by the way, I've messaged him. We want to get him on the show too, hopefully this week, so we can talk about the College World Series. And I want to specifically talk about his relationship with Mike Bianco. But I think it's time to start talking about the long-range plan for Mike and how they're going to honor him. I think he needs to coach as long as he wants to coach. I think there needs to be a statue. And I'm not so sure that we don't need to start talking about some naming rights. If Ole Miss wins the national championship and 26, they win at 22, 26, I think it's time to start having some discussions. And I think that will be in play. At the end of the day,
so too. I would simply say pump the brakes on all of that, including retiring numbers, because I just think all of that.
I'm not a big retiring numbers guy, but I think Mike is Ole Miss baseball. In terms of
the sentiment is do what?
Yeah, I mean the sentiment's there, but Mike is Ole Miss baseball. I mean, I had a conversation too with someone today. You look back in Ole Miss baseball prior to Mike was, it had a run under Coach Swayze, Coach Gibbs, obviously Coach Kessinger had some pretty good teams. Pat Harrison took a team to the Super Regional at Texas A&M, but it was Mike Bianco since Coach Swayze that now has 3 trips to Omaha. And some people will say, because you're gonna get the Mike Bianco people that are come after you saying, well, he's been there since 2001, 20 some odd years. He should get to Omaha for 3 years. Okay, I get it, but it's really hard to get to Omaha, Ben. It really is. And we look across the way at Butch Thompson, who, I mean, not only is Butch Thompson a really good guy, he's a really good baseball coach. So I'm so proud, of him being a Mississippian and him do things the right way. And nobody cares about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I talked with Paris Buchanan and Red Hobart. They've got a lot of Mississippi State and Ole Miss ties, a lot of Mississippi ties. They did a really good job with this regional. The Auburn Media Relations team did a great job. The NCAA did a great job with this regional. It was top notch, plenty of work room for the media. It was a really, really good time here in Auburn, Alabama, and really, really special night to be an Ole Miss Rebel. Ole Miss fans need to celebrate. And I want to say a special thank you to Scott just texted me, and the link right now is live, and we're going to post it on our social channels for all your College World Series gear. Once again, I get a little chill down my spine when I say that. This team's going back to Omaha to the College World Series. How incredible is that? The link is going to be live. It's already live, and we're going to post it on our Twitter feeds and our Facebook feeds and all that good stuff, so you can get your official College World Series merch. Go ahead and order it. And I know Scott is feverishly making sure that we can get all that stuff in for you. From folks going to Omaha. Ben, I don't know what the schedule is. My guess, this is pure speculation, Ole Miss will play on Friday, the winner of USC in North Carolina. I don't know what time that would be. Only way I say that is they're on that side of the bracket. So that's what I believe to be true. You asked me earlier, who do I think Ole Miss should face? Who do I think is their best shot? I don't think it matters. I think as long as they play like they did out here tonight, they can win the whole thing. I mean that. I mean, their bracket is set up perfectly. The SEC teams can fight it out in the Eastern bracket. I saw it the Eastern bracket. It's the right side of the bracket. Ole Miss on the left side of the bracket. And we'll see what happens from that point. It's a special team. And, you push that stuff aside and you think, well, it's still baseball. It is. But big-time players make big-time plays. We said this yesterday. Let me rephrase. Butch Thompson said this last night in his press conference. Their big-time players made big-time plays. Ours didn't. They made plays with 2 outs. We didn't. Same number of hits, essentially. We didn't make the plays. They did. Tonight, it was very much of the same. If you'll remember, Auburn left the bases loaded multiple times. It was an opportunity for Auburn to get some runners. Wait, everything's run together. Was that tonight or last night?
Buddy,
I'm sorry.
It
feels like I've been in Auburn for 3 weeks. But anyway,
you take a beat. Let's hear from Mike Bianco, Ole Miss head coach, after the game. This is Talk of Champions.
You brought it up a little bit earlier, but how much do you appreciate guys like Will and Judd who didn't jump ship when times were hard, especially in this era where guys are transferring pretty frequently?
Yeah, probably the time that you're talking about, that was the first thing that's, the first time that we lost players, and that we felt that. And, maybe I was a little naive, maybe I wasn't ready for that, but, in this era, sometimes that happens. When I think back to Will, guys that were good players, Judd, and those guys looking you in the face and said, "No, I'm good. I'm here." And back then Luke Hill was a big leader on the team, and there was this contingency of guys that kind of held it together, and certainly you appreciate it, and so much in this era, of NIL and the transfer portal. So much is put on the kids, and it's hard. It's pressure. It's pressure from the parents, pressure from the agents, pressure from a lot of different people. But you appreciate the guys that stick it out. And you got to think about guys like Will and Judd. They weren't stars at that time. Will had a really good freshman year. Judd didn't play much his freshman year. And so, for those guys who look back at it, I think now, and 4 years later, or 3 years later, probably for that point, how cool that is, for those guys to be in that dog pile, and guys that stuck it out, guys that love Ole Miss, their parents and their family, their parents are here every weekend, the way it's supposed to be, and so, I think that part of it makes you feel good.
Humor me, Mike, because I know you don't like looking at your own thoughts and emotions off this. You want to put it on players, but you go and hire Joel, and you got really 5 homegrown pitchers that have carried you for so much of the season, and the work that's gone into that for really you to overcome the most adversity you've had in your career too, coaching. Just what's this kind of mean to you in this era to do it after you put that plan in place with Joel?
Well, one, we're not sitting here, without Joel Mangrum. What an impact he's made. That's not to take anything away from any of the other coaches, but you can tell by not just the results, but that's obvious. The way we pitch and being the top 4 in the conference. The last this past season to win here. You can't win here. You can't beat these guys unless you pitch. Because they're not going to give up runs. They're so good on the mound. So the impact of that, is amazing. But then, to watch, Carl Lafferty and others, Carl Lafferty put a plan in place to restructure the roster to put us in position. But back to your question, and of course Clem, doesn't get enough credit. Those guys have been here forever. They've been able to adapt, to adjust, and continue to put us in position to have success. But to your point with the homegrown guys, that happens a lot. As much as we talk about the portal and everything else, man, it's hard to do it without the guys that come out of high school. And that's not to say that when you get guys like Becerra or Decker and others, they're certainly going to make an impact, and that's what you hope. But we don't get it. We're not in Omaha without the guys that came here originally.
Coach, at the end of the game, you tipped your hat, kind of waved at the crowd. It was a big Ole Miss crowd. Just your thoughts on the size of the crowd and how proud you are. Yeah, no, just the Ole Miss family shows up, and I know they'll show up in Omaha, next weekend. It's neat. It's we've not as many obviously in Nebraska. That's far away. But it was neat that it was drivable and so many people showed up, and to come out the gate just to walk over here and walk through just a flood of people, and again another thing that I'm proud of, that baseball's important at our school. People love Ole Miss baseball, and for people to show up and be excited, and they're not just parents. There's only so many parents. The parents are there all the time, but to watch the people that travel with us, and we'll see that again next week. It's really cool.
Yeah, Coach, great job on winning this one today. Talk to us about gave the credit to the staff. A lot of those guys putting you guys in the best possible position. Probably weren't the most favorite guy walking around the clubhouse this year with lineup changes, moving guys, sitting guys down. Talk about that, kind of peel that back for us.
Well, that's part of the deal. Part of the deal is to make the tough decisions. It's one of the things 2 years ago. Been the head coach for a long time, but I've also worked with the pitchers and did different things. I had to step back and kind of redefine my role. As makes me cringe a little bit, and I don't know why, but more the manager, right? And less the coach. I want to be the coach, but blessed and surrounded with some really, really good coaches, and so I think to be the manager, you got to let the coaches coach, and then manage them. To talk and understand what they're doing, where we are, to fill in and give advice. When that time's possible, but every morning, and it happened again this morning, as Clem's an early bird, so he's the first one down with the coffee, and we sit down and break down the opponent's pitcher, the relief options that are possibly going to come in. We sit and talk about lineups. Usually write about 2 or 3 different lineups, and
I'm happy with these 2 or 3, and he gets to pick, the final one. Then I get to sit with Joel and to listen to, what the pitching plan for that day is. And so these are things that, I didn't do a couple of years ago that, has kind of enabled me to, I think, be a better, manager, be a better head coach. And so, but that's because I got great coaches under me.
Third row on the right side.
Coach, what do you think about the Stormtrooper helmet, and how did you feel putting it on tonight?
Well, I felt no choice. I had to put that on. Hudson Calhoun, brought it out in front of, it seemed like about 500 Ole Miss fans, and so you got to put it on. But I remember the day that it showed up in the meeting room, and I like Star Wars, but kids make fun of me. I've only seen the first one and a little bit of the second one, so I know there's like 10 of them, so I catch flack for that. But the first one was the best, But I put it on in Gainesville, and so I think they thought it was all right to do after that. And then obviously when Judd put it on the first time. That's one of the cool things about college baseball, and it's always been there. The kids, how genuine and how sincere they are with their teammates, and we talk about the bus, but the locker room, they spend so much time with one another to have these little quirky things that they think are so cool, whatever that is, handshakes and different things. And so it's neat that there's so many of you out there that get to take pictures and know about it. For years this has been going on for 30-40 years. Nobody ever knew about it. Now in the last 10-15 years there's cameras and video everywhere, so it's been pretty neat.
What similarities do you see between this year's team and the 2014 or 2022 World Series teams?
That's hard. It's hard for me. I don't know why, but it's hard for me to every team seems different. But I'll just talk about the 22 team because there's not many people in here that really remember the 14 team. But the 22 team, a little different path. Todd Walker and Tom Hart in our interview on Thursday were talking about it. Todd was talking about the similarities. I think the similarities, that team was the team, obviously, that, the proverbial last team in. This team wasn't that. This team was, one of the last teams not to host. I mean, they were one of the teams that, were for sure going to get in. It's just, would we win a game or two in Hoover to be able.
That was Mike Bianco, Ole Miss head coach. This is Talk of Champions. There's Brad live on the scene from Auburn. Sorry, my wife was in here for a minute, and I didn't catch that it ended. So that little pause was for me. We're going to hear from the team in just a second. A couple of the players in the postgame sound there. You saw that picture of Mike Bianco that Brad sent me. Look at this. That's Mike with the Stormtrooper helmet on. Dude, Mike's got some pipes, dude. What?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Dang. I'm never going to call Mike a hoe.
Not at all. Hey, Ben, I'm sending you a video I want you to play.
Okay, man, you're throwing all this stuff. You do that. Let's first hear
just
from
one
the players.
Just one video. Yep.
All right, let's hear from the players, and then we'll come back and play whatever Brad's got in store for me.
Mike Bianco, first baseman Will Fronis, and pitcher Taylor Rabe. We'll begin with a opening statement from Coach Bianco, open it up to questions for the student athletes, and then conclude with questions for Coach. So, Coach, your opening statement, please.
First, congratulations to Butch Thompson and the Auburn baseball team. What a tremendous year that they've had. Played I think the most difficult schedule in the country, and they've played great from start to finish. And congratulations to the Auburn administration. Two nights, 2 days of just unbelievable atmosphere here. But
obviously, I'm very, as I sit here, very proud of my guys. It wasn't easy, obviously. I'd like to, at some point, go back and watch the games because it had to be, two, hell of a games that, the fans got to see, not just here live, but on television. But our beat reporters have heard us say and kind of use the mantra that, we handle hard well. And our guys have done it. They did it last weekend in a very difficult regional in Lincoln, Nebraska, and just a great opponent, great atmosphere here, and our guys just continued to handle it. Obviously today, a great performance by Taylor. That gets so deep into the game. It's amazing. When you're really good, and I've said this a lot, people can be very critical, of how you're doing and what you're doing, but if you step back and say, hey, you're going to be in a super regional, championship game with a chance to go to Omaha, your starting pitcher is going to pitch 7 innings and only give up 2 runs. There's not a coach in the country that wouldn't take that. And then proud of Will, big home run, and part of that senior group of Elliott. Will and Judd Udermark that have been here for 4 years, and it early on, we talk about, of course, Hunter, who's been here like 10 years. He won. He was part of the national championship, but Judd and Will, came here the year after, and so their road to this point, hasn't always been easy. But man, the way they hung in there, stuck by one another, that early on just great teammates, and then developed into great leaders and the faces of the program. So how fitting to have and guys have heard me say, to win you need your stars to show up, and certainly Will and Judd and those guys showed up this weekend.
Okay, go ahead and open up the questions for student athletes. Start front row.
Well, Mike just brought it up, but I think your first year, you guys went 6-24 in SEC play. The next year, missed the tournament, got home run, and then this win and going to the College World Series you were last year. What does this all feel like? What does this all mean to you?
It means the world to me. We had a really rough first 2 years here, and after that, everybody just started kind of jumping ship, and that's when you learn what people are made of. And some core guys stuck around, and we brought in guys that we thought would make a big difference for our team, not only as players but as teammates. And we focused hard on, as a team, on hanging out a lot more last year and being close knit, and it worked for us. And then we fell a little bit short, and this year we really hammered down on it again. And so you've heard everybody say it, that we're really close, tight guys, and that we like to ride the bus. We do. We actually have asked Coach B if we could take one bus sometimes on long trips, but it's a really long trip, and that can't happen. So we'd rather be crammed and move with each other than be in 2 buses. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to be comfortable. So it's just a really close group of guys, and sticking through it has really paid off, because trusting the coaches to put together a product on the field and recruit guys that are good locker room guys, and it's really helped us a lot.
Will, take me through that at bat in the 8, kind of what your thoughts were, emotions, and then to get it off such a talented left-hander when that's been kryptonite over your career, and you worked so hard on that.
Yeah, I had a really bad AB against him the AB before. I think I swung at a slider at my neck and popped up to third baseman when Joe was on third. And so walking up to the plate, I think I was 0 for 8 in the regional until that moment. So I was like, I got to do something to help us win. But just kind of sat slider, and knew that I took a really bad swing on the AB before, so he probably was going to throw it again. And it worked in my favor, worked in our favor. I was just trying to get a single to score Judd, but it ended up going out. So.
Will, we'll give you a break after all those questions. Taylor, can you talk about what you felt like warming up? Was there a pitch, maybe, hey, my change is really on today? How early did you feel that? As a catcher, it's easy to tell. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say I felt any different. Like one thing was really working than any other outing, but I knew that every outing's different, and we have a really good scouting report that we spend a lot of time on, and When we were looking at that, we knew Auburn was going to be a team that takes a lot of short swings, hits a lot of ground balls, and kind of plays station-to-station baseball. And so it was going to be critical that, like, even after giving up some singles through the gaps, that just kind of sticking with it and not trying to do too much. And so I think just kind of trusting myself, even after giving up some balls, through the 6th hole, is kind of what helped me to get out of it and get some length today.
Second row left side.
For both of you, I know y'all talked about the emotions of this moment, but last year you had to watch another team dogpile. At Swayze, now circled to this year, you're going to the World Series and got to dogpile on a visiting team's field. What was that dogpile like, and what did that mean to you two?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. That feeling last year really stuck with us, and especially it being at home every time you're out there, it's kind of like in the off season you remember the last game you played there and what happened. And so we took it this year as a kind of like took it to heart, and really just knew that it was going to be tough, but we just had to stick with it, and that we had a team that was capable of doing this. And so I think that was a big thing for us.
Yeah, when you try so hard throughout the year, and then you finally get there, and you have a great regional, and it feels like you should have won, but you don't. And I know I did, and I'm sure other guys did too. But I thought about it for literally all the way until opening day. Like it just sucked. It's hard to forget about it. I knew this was my last year, and a couple other guys last year's, and like this guy's draft eligible, and so it's probably his last year too. And so all these guys.
Stop with that.
Okay, sorry. Just wanted to do it for the guys around you. Last year it just sucked watching the guys that weren't going to come back on the field, walk off. And this year we worked really hard not to let that happen.
Coach B sort of touched on it, Will, but to come in 23 and you and Judd hear all the stories about Omaha and what that's like, did it feel like, obviously knowing the 23 team or the 22 team did well in Omaha, but did it feel like Omaha was kind of the last piece missing for you?
Yeah, for sure. We actually were talking about it with Hunter Elliott on the way here, and he's been here 5 years, and he's actually ended his season every single way except in a super regional. He ended it missing the SEC tournament, making the SEC tournament, losing for the end of the season in a regional and in Omaha. And so he was like, let's just not do it in a super regional. I was like, dude, yeah, let's not do that. So it's kind of crazy. We've been looking forward to this moment and working really hard since the beginning of the season. Props to all of our coaches. They've worked us, tirelessly to just get to this moment and get it done.
Okay, we have two more. Will, what was your vantage point of Fed's great catch there? Because that ball popped out for a split second before he grabbed it again. Those are really tough balls to catch for people that don't play baseball. That's one of the hardest balls to catch ever. He smoked that ball. Fed came in the dugout and said it sounded like he hit it bad, but it's just so tough, those line drives. And it's crazy. He came after the game and said, I just keep thinking about how if that ball actually pops out of my glove, that what happens after that. But it was a phenomenal catch by him, and he's a great outfielder, and he made a mistake, but he covered up for it and caught it over his shoulder like Willie Mays.
Well, time has passed for Hunter from Omaha then to now, but how valuable is it to at least have a veteran presence who's been there, even though it is just one guy, to get y'all kind of ready for what y'all will be experiencing?
Oh yeah, we can go. You go.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter's my roommate on the road, and so we spend a lot of time just talking about the team, and so we've talked a lot about Omaha, and I was looked to him from the time that I came here as a guy that has been through it and knows what it takes. And so when we were looking at this team and we talk about it a lot, we're like, man, we are really, really talented. We're a really tight-knit group, and we have all the traits of a good team. And so kind of hearing that from him is it's really good to hear, because that he's been through it and done it. And so Vern's played 4 years here, but never been to Omaha, and so kind of having that guy that you can look for is really critical. And you also know that Hunter just lives to pitch in these big moments, and so it's awesome to have him and be able to pitch him in these spots because he loves it so much.
Yeah. I know a lot of guys look up to him too, especially in the bullpen. So having him as like a slow heartbeat, I'm sure is really relaxing to the guys that come in and pitch in the game because he's done it before. He looks cool as a cucumber out there. So.
I think it's our final question for players.
I guess, well, real quick, they kept showing the Stormtrooper helmet on TV. Just would you mind giving me the backstory on that and how good did it feel to put that on?
Yeah, so we were in Florida and I think we hadn't scored for like 17 innings or something like that. And I think it was it Hudson Calhoun?
Yeah, it was Hudson Calhoun, Terry Hayes, and Will Libber.
Yeah, Hudson Calhoun, Terry Hayes, and Will Libber. And they were in, I think, a bookstore. I don't know, maybe
like Target or something.
Target. Okay, it wasn't a bookstore. That would have shocked me too. But, it was, they bought, I think the Stormtrooper helmet was like, what was it, $100? They split it.
Like
and they gave it for, $150. And they gave it to our offense. And ever since then, we just decided that we could start hitting again. So we just kept putting it on. Kind of became like a prop. I think Tennessee has the hat and Georgia has the chain or the mask, and we have the Stormtrooper helmet. So.
But the first one that put it on was Judd, right?
Yeah, the first one to put it on was
Judd's
Judd.
home run in Florida.
Oh,
yeah, to tie it up. Yeah.
So it's only for home runs.
Yeah, it's a home run. It's a home run Stormtrooper helmet. Yeah.
All right.
It's the best prop they could possibly have, Brad. And to see it on Mike Bianco is even funnier. You unmute so I can talk to you again as we wrap up this post-game edition of Talk of Champions. I'm Ben Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. He's Brad Logan at Brad Logan TOC. You can find us both all the time at the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, affiliate on 3. That's the QR code on your screen. Scan it today, and new members can try us out for half off an annual subscription. It's the Ole Miss Spirit, omspirit.com, an affiliate on 3. Brad still hasn't unmuted on me. He's still not. I can't even talk to him because I don't know what that means. You're like sign languagey me. But this is the best prop. What do you? I've clicked. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You get out of here.
We're cooking with grease now,
buddy. You have been on the road for it feels like 6 months straight, and I think you need a break. But like we don't sleep till July apparently.
This has been a wild ride, and I'm so honored to be a part of this crazy team. And what a great picture with Mike Bianco and the helmet, the Stormtrooper helmet, and admitting that he's only seen like 1.5 of the Star Wars movies, which is unbelievable.
Good.
It's been a special night, and I just got a text from Paris Buchanan who just congratulated Ole Miss, and I immediately responded with, this is probably the best regional host site on the road I've ever been to. And he and his entire team did a great job accommodating everybody. And so it's been a very, very special night for Ole Miss. As we look at the final stats, I mean, Will Furnish is going to show up as 1 for 9, but that's the beauty of baseball is no matter what, level of baseball, no matter who's playing who, the big hit always shines a little bit brighter. And now Will Furnish will be remembered as 1 for 9 in the SEC, 1 for 9 in the Auburn regionals. That one hit catapulted Ole Miss to Omaha. And by the way, is Tristan Becetta's home run landed yet?
No one's going to remember 1 for 9. As I interrupt you, I apologize. But no one's going to remember 1 for 9. All they're ever going to remember for eternity is that home run. And man, no one deserves that moment more than Will Furnish. And I texted him about 10 minutes ago as y'all were listening to players, probably listening to Fern talk, and I said, legendary shit. And he wrote, thank you, man. Let's go. I mean, within seconds. This is just who he is. He's a good human, and he got a moment, and that is awesome. They're going to Omaha, going to play the winner of North Carolina and Southern Cal. They got a winner-take-all game tomorrow. Ole Miss
what about the comment Mike made about when Will Furnish was talking about, and look, he's draft eligible, and Mike was like, hey, you stop with that. You stop it right now. And I really liked that. I thought that was a cool moment.
That was, I think, representative of like Mike's just different now. He's not that he was ever like lacking humor or he was super self-serious all the time. I'm not saying the man is going to like kick back and like, smoke a blunt with you, but like the man is relaxed in a way that he used to not be. And that was a really cool moment because that's the main thing I took away from that press conference is that moment because it was lighthearted. It's true. He's like, dude, stop. You know what I mean? But also, Fern is going to give you as much detail and like honesty as he can. What a cool, like, organic, true, honest moment. And yeah, that was what stuck out to me in that post game.
I do believe that if you look at Ole Miss, now we can kind of turn the page to Omaha. They're probably playing on Friday. I don't know if it'll be the 3 p.m. game or the 6 p.m. game. Oh, it's 2 or 6 or 3 and 7. I do believe that, Ben, as you look at it, we were talking before the game about Cade Townsend. If you don't throw Cade at all today, would he get the ball game one? I don't think so. I think Hunter gets the ball game one, but I do believe that if you look at someone like a Cade Townsend, he's ready to go. If you need him, Will Libbert is ready to go if you need him. That's the beauty of running rough shot through regionals, Ben, is you save all your pitching. Walker Hooks came out a little bit, below in regards to, velocity that he normally has tonight. But, I mean, that's maybe to be expected. The only thing I was kind of thinking, there were two things that if Ole Miss lost, I was going to say. Number one, I was a little concerned that Owen Pano didn't bunt in about what inning was it, Ben? 4th inning when Ole Miss had runners on first with no outs. And so they did not bunt Pano. The second thing is I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind, leave J.P. Robertson in there. Just let him go. I mean, but I know he was probably on a pitch count, and they were probably looking at, specific matchups and, with Walker Hooks coming in, I get all that. But those are the two things I was kind of nitpicking just a little. But at the end of the day, it definitely worked out best.
Absolutely, it did. Are you ready to get you some rest, my friend?
I'm going to find something in Auburn, Alabama that's fried and something that's got a little bit of sugar in it, and I'm about to have a little fun. I'm going to get me a Diet Mountain Dew, and I'm going to absolutely slay some food. And to no disrespect at our good friends here at Auburn, but a lot of turkey sandwiches and a lot of chicken salad. And, hey, I'm all for that, but it's time for me to get an old-fashioned meal, so I'm excited to get me something fried and get me something a little sugar in it. It was a big night, and I want to once again thank everybody for joining us in the chat. Wall-to-wall coverage on the Ole Miss Spirit. Jake, I'm literally looking at Jake writing right now. Wall-to-wall coverage at the Ole Miss Spirit. That's OleMissSpirit.com. You can use that QR code right there above my head. You can save today and join the site and come talk about it. There's a live thread that's got about 200,000 impressions on it. A lot of people are excited about the win here tonight. Ben, before we go, I think it's important to kind of reflect on the season as a whole. Obviously, there's some games to be played, and we get all that. But I want to reflect about how this team never quit. And, Chucky always talked about never quit. And I think that's, the epitome of Ole Miss. The ninth inning, there was some drama, and there's always some drama with Ole Miss. There's always some drama with late inning heroics. And for this baseball team, there was a little bit of drama, but my buddy Chad Stewart from Bruce, dear friend, married to my dear cousin Heather, he sent me a text, and I didn't think about it, and I'm going to give him a shout-out. He said that was one of the more athletic plays that Judd Udemark has made in his career. And I didn't think anything about it. And I went back and watched it. He's right. That was a very difficult play. And I don't think we can say enough just how good of a job Judd Udemark has been, or how good of a job he's done this year, playing multiple positions, solidifying that third base spot. I think it says a lot about Judd, not only as a teammate, but as a player and adapting and playing different roles on the team. That was a monster play at third base to end the game. And I agree. Incredibly athletic. But once again, I want to reflect on something again before we go. The play of the night was the Federico play. That kept 2 runners from scoring. And as I watched it on the replay after the game, that ball literally snow-coned. It almost came out. But to me, the moment of the night was earlier in the game, and I'm losing my train of thought here. I think it's around the 6th inning, and Taylor Ray got in a little bit of trouble, but he got out of it. And the moment of the series, the moment of the season, is the 6th inning. I'm gonna get a T-shirt made with that on. I'm gonna call Scott and, hey Scott, give me a T-shirt that says give me a T-shirt that says 6th inning. Incredible, but yeah, big league play, and thanks, William and Mary. Appreciate you guys. I know there are a million people in here and a ton of people chatting, but you are always you're always in here wide open with us. Very much thankful to our friends at the College Corner Store. They're going to be wide open, and I hope Scott's ready because the onslaught of orders is coming in. But he's already told me he's wired. He's ready. He's got everybody, sitting on go. Orders being processed. Get them out the door. Just give them a call today, 662-550-4330. And do me a favor, before you order about $300 worth of gear, tell Scott and his team, hey, man, Brad and Ben, Talk of Champions, Omaha, Auburn Super Regional, that's why we're doing it. We appreciate them a lot. So do me a favor, give them a call. Go by and see them in Oxford. Let them know that you heard about it. And order online at collegecornerstore.com. Ben, what are your three big things for this Ole Miss baseball team for the season? Not just the Auburn Regional, but the three big things that has Ole Miss in Omaha.
Taylor Abe. I'm going to give you three players. Taylor Abe,
Okay.
Will Furnace, Judd Udemart. Those three guys specifically. Man, we went through it with Taylor earlier in the show. You got to give it to Judd. He's Ole Miss's all-time home run king now. And he said it this season. Hit the big double today. Homer in the Lincoln. I mean, this guy has been – and I think it's important to remember how you felt when Liam Dole, Wes Mendez, and Andrew Fisher left. And Omaha seemed like it was an outlier season in 2022, and just the Rebs got hot once. You felt so low, and guys like Judd and Will Furnace, Hunter, of course, they all stayed, and now they've all been rewarded. Fern has been the most consistent hitter for Ole Miss all season. Judd has been the home run guy, and Taylor Rabe stabilized the rotation as Hunter had highs and lows, but he's always been hot in May, and he dominated in May. On top of Cade Townsend being what's going to be a top 30 pick in the MLB draft, even though the late season has been a little bit of a struggle. How good was Cade Townsend in the first 3 months of the season? How dominant was he? Mm-hmm. So Walker Hooks, I mean, there's so many guys you could point to, but those three names is where I'll always start. And no longer they remembered as the guys who stayed as Ole Miss sank. They're the guys that got Ole Miss back to Omaha, while the guys who left, they were proven that Ole Miss wasn't dead, right? Ole Miss wasn't sunk. It wasn't a dying. No, Mike Bianco, who's like my 04 F-150. In 2026, the most expensive time in the history of the world, most chaotic nature in the history of college athletics. You just got to go with what works. Sometimes he just works, man. And they're back at Omaha despite everything. And I think that's the coolest thing in the world. This has been Talk of Champions. I've been Garrett at Spirit Ben on Twitter. He's Brad Logan. You could have stopped when he said an old-fashioned because I want you to drink something cold or delicious. But instead,
it'll be a Diet Mountain Dew tonight, Ben.
Okay, have your Diet Mountain Dew.
I have not had an ice cold canned Diet Mountain Dew. I will have one as soon as I get to the car because they're on ice.
And this was at Colin Birchfield, 8136. What a marathon stream it was. 2 hours, and it was a lot of fun, really tiring for all of us. But, man, worth every second. Ole Miss is headed back to the College World Series. Brad, go get that sugary something, and don't you overeat, sir. I don't want you sleeping past your alarm because you get into a food coma, okay?
What a night. What a night to be an Ole Miss Rebel. And as Joe Tessitore said, oh, what a night in Oxford. Except tonight, it's oh, what a night in Auburn. Ole Miss is headed to the College World Series.